Hello and welcome to episode 9 of A Legionary's Life, a Soldier of Mars. In the last episode we fought the Macedonian army in open combat for the second time and managed to defeat them. The only thing that kept us from winning the campaign here in Greece was the uneven ground that did not allow our cavalry to pursue the enemy as they fled, allowing most of the enemy troops to get away. Another thing I do want to talk about, you might have noticed in this series that there is no episode 7. So it turns out, after going back through things, I either did not hit the record button, or OBS, which is the program I use to record, didn't actually record the episode, which means that I can't go back. There is no in-depth save system. It's basically you have your most recent save at your most recent point. You play through the whole game at one time. There's no way for me to backtrack, go back to that save point, re-record that episode, and then re-upload it. So unfortunately, I can't go back and re-record that, so we can just move forward and finish this game out. In the last episode, I already went over that, apologies. But we'll go ahead and move forward and get back into things now. In the morning, both commanders send off a party of cavalry and light infantry. During the action, your Italic horsemen are outshined by their Aetolian allies. They are not as good as the Numidians, but still remarkable. On the next day, you break camp, imitating the Macedonians. Clearly, both Philip and Titus are dissatisfied with the ground. For 2 days, you move across southern Thessalia, making no contact with the enemy forces, their exact position hidden by high hills. Finally, you encamp in the sanctuary of Thetis, not far from Pheropolis. An intense thunderstorm makes sleep difficult during the night. Upon awakening, you find a persistent fog that veils everything. This doesn't bode well. The Macedonians could be anywhere. You watch with curiosity as tens of squadrons of cavalry and nearly 1,000 velites are assembled and dispatched to investigate the hills. At least you remember there were hills yesterday in that direction. As you look at the large scouting party disappear into the fog, you recall someone mentioning that they are called Cynosyphilia, or the dog's heads. It takes quite a while for messengers to come back, and when they do, the camp is stirred into ferment. What filters to your ears is the most disturbing. The patrols have met with an enemy force they can hardly hold off. Another detachment, about twice as large as the first one is, and compromising many Aetolians, is sent to help them. When the fog disappears at last, you can see the engagement going on. Your allies are being steadily pushed downhill by a superior force. The proconsul has formed you into two wings. Your maniple is on the right side of the left one. In front of the raging battle, there is nothing ahead on the right wing as far as you can see. You advance, and as the retreating skirmishers fall back through the gaps in your formations, the center of your line makes contact with Philip's troops. The effect is almost immediate. Now it is the opposite side that is slowly losing ground. Nevertheless, as the fighting spreads, a small group of mercenaries falls upon you. What do they think they are doing? The enemies have the high ground. Our stance is penalized a little bit, but we'll go ahead and throw our javelin and instantly kill the guy by hitting him in the neck. You follow the fleeing mercenaries, but close to the top you find a dreadful surprise. The Phalanx is here. Its long pikes are lowered and ready to push you all the way back down. As the Phalanx approaches, it is impossible not to notice that their ranks look deeper than last time. It will be like fighting against an avalanche. We will spot an enemy officer and throw our javelin at him. As our missile, our javelin, strikes true, killing the other guy. And we once again are now affected by the Phalanx being on higher ground, which is not great. But we will go ahead and chop. It's the best way to get through this. Just chop away with a sword that's meant for stabbing, but it'll do all the same. You have broken through the spear wall. You engage the Phalangites without wasting time. You are outnumbered, but they're not as skilled at you as close quarters. Still penalized by the high ground, but we will now close in. Again, as the game says, these guys are not as skilled as us at close quarters fighting, but the enemy is. There will be multiple of them upon us, so we have to kill them as quickly as we can, which for us isn't that much of a problem. at all. You have pierced the shield wall, sowing death and panic, and yet it is not enough. Their formation is too deep, the ground too unfavorable. Their rear ranks are attacking you with their pikes, and the surrounding Phalanx threaten to crush you with sheer numbers, or forced to pull back. The pressure on the whole front line is overpowering. Mercifully, the uneven ground is slowing the cumbersome Phalanx. Your partially broken ranks use a moment of respite to rally a little. You see the other wing advancing with all the elephants in front of the infantry. They do soon disappear from your field of view. You don't know what they are attacking. The hillside you are standing on hides everything. At length, you try to contain the advance of the Phalanx as best you can, then they launch another all-out assault. The enemies once again have the stance advantage, but we will once again close in and start chopping. Slowly chopping through the pikes more and more, preventing the enemy from getting an attack off on us and getting into the Phalanx itself. You have broken through the spear wall. You engage the Phalangites without wasting time. Once again, we have the advantage in combat and skill, but they still have the high ground. Doesn't take long for us to get through the first one though, and the second one will fall just the same. The third Phalangite comes in and will die with the third round. You are doing the impossible, breaking through the spear wall twice in a row. This time the effect is more noteworthy. You are repelled again, but the Phalanx has been forced to back away a little. A small gap appears on the flank of the enemy. You could use the gap to attack one of the enemy formations from the side. You have very little time to execute this plan, and the Thracian auxiliaries guarding the flanks will surely try to stop it. You will attack and pour into the gap before it's closed. You take as many men as you can and tell them to follow you. Hopefully they will suffice. The Phalangites are caught unprepared by your bold move, and we will close in and sow as much death and destruction as possible, for else our army may not be able to survive the Phalanx. We will get some respite before the next Phalangite comes in, but we managed to kill them. Thracian auxiliaries are coming to the rescue of the Phalanx. We have more auxiliaries to deal with. And we have a Thracian chieftain too. We'll go after the chieftain first. He's nearly dead. We'll go for the neck again, and then go for the auxiliary above us. Failed to faint, unable to recover. He'll now... Oh, we miss. We'll recover. The other auxiliary hits our friend with a quick feint, but we'll once again go for the auxiliary we went for before. And now go for the middle that just arrived. Tried to charge our friend. Our friend isn't looking very good, but we'll kill the middle auxiliary and now go for the one beneath us. Hit him once in the neck and then twice. There we go. And with that, that is that taken care of. The Saracens are faltering, and you can renew your assault on the flank of the Phalanx. There are too few of you to rout them, but you keep them pinned. The formation on their immediate right cannot advance without exposing its left flank, and the effect propagates all along the battle line. No mental attribute increase. The retreat that threatened to degenerate into a rout at any moment is forestalled. Your incredible initiative might have saved the whole army. You have lost count of the enemies you have killed today. As you keep giving orders, your compatriots look up to you in a peculiar way, as if they were ready to worship a new god of war. For Mars! For a long time the situation hangs in the balance. Then you notice the Roman maniples ascending from the top of the hills behind the enemy. You have no idea how they got there, and more important matters are pressing. When they charge the Phalanx from behind, they apparently have a devastating effect. You renew the offense. This battle is about to end. The plight of the Macedonians is hopeless. Their long weapons are just as hindrance now that they are being attacked from multiple directions. Many Phalangites throw their shields away and attempt to surrender, but there's no escape for them. Before long, the survivors are holding their pikes high with both hands, a strange gesture you've never seen before. They must be surrendering. We will tell our comrades to stop the slaughter and take prisoners. Virtue increased by 12. It takes a while and a lot of shouting, but they finally listen to you. You have saved the lives of these Macedonians, but many more all over the battlefield are not so lucky. They are massacred by the thousands before the slaughter is stopped. When all is over, you learn by bits and scraps of information what really happened during the battle. The right wing of your army charged with the elephants at the left of the Macedonians before the phalanx was still in marching order on difficult ground. It was put to flight right away. Most of the Romans and their allies were busy chasing the enemy, but one of the tribunes took about half a legion and came to your rescue. What happened next you have seen with your own eyes. So it seems the enemy hadn't planned this battle after all. He was rushed into it as much as you. As soon as your heroic action that stopped the advance of the phalanx becomes known, the soldiers of the maniples that were in the left wing acclaim you as their savior. A crown made of grasses and flowers picked from the battlefield is offered to you. When you start to grasp the magnitude of what is happening, you have to fight back the tears. You are the 5th Roman to receive such a high honor, the 5th in the whole history of the Republic. Philip and the rest of the survivors have withdrawn to Macedonia. Peace talks are resumed shortly thereafter. This time, the defeated king has no choice but to accept all the conditions imposed by Rome. The Macedonians give up all the lands of the Graecians in Europe and Asia, while impairing limitations are enforced on their military capacity. It looks like the sunset of the power that once had half the world at its feet. We awarded the grass crown for saving the entire left wing of the army at the Battle of Cynosiphala, and we will continue on. We get another gold armilla for our battle progress, and the Grecians acclaim you as liberators. You wonder if they realize they changed one master for another. They are formally free and subject to their own laws, but now that it's set foot in Graecia, Rome will not leave anytime soon. Such a wonderful and cultured land, but each city is following its own petty interest, and they are divided by perennial conflicts. They are doomed to be subjugated by more purposeful and tight-knit powers. Anyways, these thoughts quickly fade in the background of your mind. You are going home. The sun is rising behind you as you stand at the bow of a ship that will take you across the sea. As you look at the vast expanse of water, you think of all the people you have known who now lie buried in Hispania and Africa, or in the land you are leaving behind. You remember the enemies that fell before you, how many of them had a choice. You try to smother the thought as you used to, but for some reason it is not easy now that it all is over. For a while you stand there alone, enjoying the company of the sea, the great sea that drop by drop is becoming your sea. Your service against Carthage has been rewarded with 14 aegura of land in Apula. You spent a few placid years there with your wife and children. Your wealth was still tremendously far from that of rich patricians and large landowners, even though the loot you had brought back was impressive. You could have bought your new landholding several times over. It was certainly enough to provide a comfortable life for you and your young family. Eventually, you were drafted once more. Anticulus, ruler of the immense Seleucid Empire, saw Rome as a serious threat to his hegemony in the east. You were part of the army sent overseas to stop his effort to liberate Graecia, or Greece, from the influence of the Republic. Your age and experience had ensured a place among the Triarii. Thanks to your extremely high popularity, you were appointed first centurion, the highest ranking centurion in the whole legion. Despite being close to your 40s, you were still highly respected as the best fighter in the army. After the first year of the war, you were greatly surprised to meet again your old commander, Scipio. This time, he had chosen to act as a mere legate to his younger brother Lucius, the consul in charge. As a first centurion, you had a seat in the council of war along with the man who had been your commander when Hannibal was defeated. The war was won, but as a Triarius, you hardly saw any action, even at the great battle of Magnesia. Upon your retreat to Italia, you moved back to Rome. As the illustrious winner of a grass crown, you were admitted to senatorial rank. The honor and prestige implied by your new position dramatically changed your life and that of your family. You found yourself involved in the politics of the capital. After serving terms as quaestor, aedile, and praetor, you were elected consul, an outstanding achievement for a man who came out of nowhere. There were no wars during your consulship, and you served your relatively uneventful year in Italia. You were remembered as an incorruptible leader by many, though your attempts to promote land reform made you many enemies among the patrician families. In the final years of your life, war was declared upon Carthage for a third time. After a long siege, Carthage was razed to the ground by Scipio Aemilianus, the adopted grandson of Scipio Africanus, your long-dead former commander. Your reaction to the news surprised the people around you. It was as if part of you had burned away with the Punic city. A mere few days later, you silently followed its fate peacefully in your sleep. And with that, we will go ahead and hit end. This will show us our final score of Maximus Decimus Meridius. All in all, we achieved the Grass Crown, 3 Civic Crowns, 3 Mural Crowns, 6 Gold Armillas, 4 Silver, and 1 Bronze, 20 Cups, and vanquished, dare I say, hundreds of enemies, probably somewhere between 3 and 400, with a final score of 17,246 and a rank of Primus Centurio, which is the centurion in charge of the whole legion, or the highest ranking in charge of the whole legion, I should say. In the leaderboards, that puts us 5th amongst all my runs. My highest run ever was with Decimus Popidus Vindix, a 19,000 run. That was a crazy run, also ending on Primus Centurio, but I'll take 5th. 5th is plenty for what I wanted. Anyways, thank you so much for watching this series. That'll bring an end to this game. Honestly, A Legionary's Life is one of my favorite game concepts in terms of playing multiple runs over time. I don't think the publisher ever published plan to make another game, but I would love another game. Some ideas, one in a Viking time, and the other in the medieval period, the high medieval period before the Renaissance. I think those would be great games for a style of this game. I do think it was interesting to notice there were some polearm and axe skills also in the character area, but we didn't use them, obviously, as the Romans generally didn't use those, at least not the normal soldiers. But anyways, thank you so much for watching. I hope you very much enjoyed this series. I know I did. If you liked the video, please make sure to leave a like, hit the like button down below, hit subscribe if you want to see future series from me. I know next will be my second playthrough of War Hospital. That will have some interesting stipulations on it due to some research I've done on the game. If you want to be notified of when that series comes out, make sure you hit the bell below to be notified. If you dislike this series for any reason, hit the dislike button and let me know why in the comments. I'm always looking to improve. Obviously, I apologize for the 7th episode kind of having disappeared out of nowhere. Unfortunately, there's nothing I can do for that. But anyways, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a nice rest of your day, and bye-bye.